Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Grounded Roots Healing. I'm Jason. I'm an alchemist, oracle, spiritual teacher, etc., etc. This is what I do now. I want to talk today about kind of, I wouldn't call it a disturbing trend, but it's a trend that I've noticed between awakening masculines and awakening feminines, and it's a well, we're butting heads, to put it lightly. And I noticed it on Facebook in particular. So I have some friends who are in this space who have careers in this field, and I've noticed a pattern of people feeling threatened by the opposing yin to the yang. So I'll explain further here, but before I get into that, I'm going to light some Palo Santo. Hopefully I'll think a little bit clearer. Stuff's great. Wow, that's a lot of smoke. I love the smell of this stuff. I prefer sage, but Amanda prefers this, and so do the kids. Also, on another note, I've gotten to 472 subscribers, and my goal has been for a long time to get to 500, which means I'm 28 subs short. So if you're watching this video, please just click that sub button. Help me prove to my youngest son, who is a YouTuber himself, or he has a channel, that I have a legitimate channel. I know I do, but this is a little goal of mine, and hopefully I can get there. It doesn't mount to anything financially, at least not yet, but it does open me up to monetization. I would need more watch hours, but help me reach my goal. So what got me thinking about this masculine and feminine was a post that someone made, and they were angry. It was a masculine, and he was angry that essentially he was being told to sit down and shut up, and it was because we've had a patriarchy for so long in this society, which is undeniable, and they've done a lot of damage. I feel that he feels that he's being unfairly targeted and being left out. We're just here to support the feminine as they rise into power. And then I've noticed other feminine beings of the feminine persuasion latching onto that concept, where they're upset, and rightfully so, but not rightfully so. They're upset at the patriarchy that they've had to endure for this amount of time, and the toxic masculinity that's been going on. So they're hurt, and they are starting to see that they're going to be playing a much bigger role in providing guidance for the future, in the future society. And many of these people who are, let's say, out of balance on the masculine side, so they have a strong masculine side. We all do. We all have a masculine and feminine side. Well, their masculine side might be out of balance, and they're frankly acting more like patriarchal individuals, even though they're in feminine bodies. So the gender, your outward gender, is irrelevant. It really is. And I'll explain why. So, this is separation. We are not separate beings. So anytime you're looking outside yourself for someone to blame for something, you're on the wrong path. That is the path of the ego. That's the path of putting, it's us versus them. There's someone to blame for your struggles, and this isn't the way forward. So the yin and the yang symbol, this is the masculine and feminine. We are all half masculine, half feminine beings. Our outward vessels, which are just avatars in the first place, which you're not supposed to associate with, but we all do, at least until we start to get smart to this and wake up. We tend to have, and the right side of your body is the masculine yang portion of the yin and yang symbol. They're supposed to be in balance. This is when you're at a optimal functionality of your earthly vessel, let's say. So the yang is the masculine. It's the doing, the action oriented. It's associated with the sun, and dominance, this type of thing. The yang, and that is the right side of your body. The left side of your body is the feminine, and it's associated with the moon and receiving and intuition and a stronger connection to the astral and the spiritual side of things. The masculine tends to be the earth-based, doing 3D style of being, and the feminine is the opposite. So we all have these. Then we go into childhood and we get, well, society and our families, which are, of course, taught by society, teach us that if you're a man, you act a certain way, or if you're a woman, you only act a certain way. And this is obviously nonsense. We know that there's a whole spectrum of hypermasculines and divine masculines and effeminate masculines, and vice versa on the feminine side. This goes up and down. I am not a particularly masculine. Male. I'm not. I have a wife, I have 3 kids, but I'm by nature very gentle, very caring, very emotional male. I've always been like this. Now, I was conditioned to bury that and hide it, which I no longer do. In fact, I cry more than my wife cries, quite a bit more. And I'm proud of it. This is who I am. I've always been like this. And I'm not going to hide it anymore. I cry at Somewhere Over the Rainbow by, I can't remember his name, Israel something. He's from a Hawaiian gentleman who passed away. But that song, every time that comes on, I cry. My wife doesn't cry to music unless it's something that triggers an emotional reaction in her, or triggers a memory where there's one song in particular, but I won't mention it. But I cry at all of them. If there's a good message, if I see something beautiful in nature, if a puppy or a baby reacts a certain way, I'm crying. This is me. I'm very, very soft, very, very much in touch with my yin side. Yin. Female. Now, before I go on to that, the hemispheres of your brain are the opposite, right? We know that they're inverted. So left hemisphere is masculine, right hemisphere is female or feminine. So for a very long time, because of the stuff that happened in my life, I was traumatized and I had PTSD, and I lost connection to the left side of my body. My feminine side was buried and suppressed as much as possible. That nurturing side was replaced with competitiveness and getting it done at all costs, and drinking and sacrificing my body to provide for my family. I have a very strong urge to provide for my family, but that part of me that was suppressed had a huge detrimental effect on me. That's where all of the emotions come from for me, and it was buried under alcohol for a long time. So I've learned to start integrating this side of my body and letting it loose. And as a consequence, I've noticed sensitivity in the left side of my body in particular coming online. I feel like a buzzing or a tingling in the entire left side of my body sometimes. I had one particular incident where I cleared out a lot of old energy, and it caused this buzzing sensation on a almost like a heartbeat pattern for a week on the left side of my body. Now, you don't only want to be oriented to one side or the other of your body. The concept here is to be a balanced divine masculine. A divine masculine has the right side of his body under control, healed, and the left side of his body, the female, under control and healed. He can be protective and do the things he needs to do in this 3D world when he needs to, but he can also be caring, loving, and open, and provide a safe space for people to speak or to be in your presence and not be afraid of you. Far too many masculines are completely out of touch with their feminine side of themselves. So I've been integrating this for well over a year now, and I'm getting close. I feel a lot more confident in it. In fact, I use the left side of my body more than I used to. And for most of my life, I was so uncoordinated with the left side. If say, throw a baseball or something like this, I was so useless with this side of my body. It was like I couldn't do anything with it. And I'm quite athletic, and I was very good with my right side, but it kept me off balance. Like playing basketball, dribbling from the left side was excruciatingly difficult for me. So I've noticed I've started using it more to do things in the 3D world. Because it's coming online, the sensitivities and the coordination on the left side of my body is improving. And I also noticed that when I'm doing things like moving energy or looking at my auric field, I look on the left side always. Always. If I'm testing crystals for vibration, on the left side, it's the sensitive side of your body. So, okay, we're coming into balance. As spiritual beings, we need both sides of ourselves to be functioning properly and integrated before we can hold the maximum amount of our higher self, our soul. I've said this a bunch of times, but the chakra system is your puppeteering system for the avatar that is the mind and the brain and the body. The mind-body complex, as I often call it, or an avatar or vehicle. So it inhabits the body, and it uses the chakras to puppet this thing. It uses the consciousness. This is your consciousness moving matter. You're consciously deciding to move your hand this way or that way. And as these chakras, if you calculate the number of cycles per chakra and total them up, it amounts to 144,000 hertz. This is what the vibrational frequency of the soul is, or higher. So when you are out of balance in your body, the masculine and the feminine, your chakras you can't hold as much of that in your body, which means your gifts, your spiritual gifts, your connection to your higher self are weaker. As you integrate these and you combine them together into a cohesive unit, let's say, where it functions as one unit, a divine masculine being, in my case, you will embody more of your light, you will turn on more of your spiritual gifts, and you will become wiser. So that's what's happening to me, and I see through a lot of this behavior that I was just talking about at the first part of this video. So in the case of the masculine who was upset about women taking over, no. Like I said, we live in a patriarchal society currently, and we're switching. Don't get it twisted. Like the feminines of this world are on the rise. There will be a lot more feminines in places of leadership in the future, without a doubt. And that is just the way it's supposed to be. But balanced. To whoever's good at whatever job they have in the future, that's the job they get. It is irrelevant of what your orientation is or your gender. It makes no difference. So because the feminines of this world they're more in touch with their feminine side, which is the intuitive side, which is the part that connects to the spiritual realms easier. Because they tend to be, having grown up in the society, they also tend to be more likely to be in connection with their spiritual selves, which means this stuff's going to come online earlier for them. And they're going to be more advanced than the masculines. But you absolutely need both. You need the doers and the seers. You can't do it without each other. So, like your body is coming into balance and to be one cohesive unit that's vibrating and cycling correctly with the masculine and feminine in balance, you need this on the outside as well, in the society level, as well as you and your soulmate. If you happen to have one, or sometimes I call them twin flames, like my wife and I are divinely connected together. So as I bring myself into balance, she's doing the same thing. She's awakening the masculine side of herself, that the part of her that would speak up instead of being quiet like she used to. The part of her that would do instead of just, not allowing her own feelings to be heard. She would just push it to the background because it's not important. She needs to be more aggressive. She needs to balance the masculine side of herself. She is a divine feminine, and without a doubt. So we're polar opposites of each other. We're twins, but we have all the weaknesses and the strengths are opposing. Do you think that's by accident? She's balancing her masculine, I'm balancing my feminine. We're balancing them in each other. Once we are all balanced separately, as we come together and we work as a cohesive unit, we are embodying more of our light into our bodies, and we can direct our attention in the same direction, which makes us even more powerful. We become a cohesive unit of balanced masculine, feminine. Then you go one step further and you do it on a family level. And then you go one step further and you do it on a community level or tribal level. So, like I was saying, this gentleman who was upset about this he's been conditioned to feel like he needs to be in charge. So his ego is taking a hit when he feels like he's being marginalized. And like I said as well, there's females jumping on the bandwagon who have an extra strong masculine side. And usually this is to cope with being hurt by men. So it's a way to compensate and not get hurt in the future. So you put on this aggressive front and you get pushy. Well, your ego, that's your ego. It's a hurt part of you trying to hurt someone else. And your ego sees an opportunity to get into a higher state of control where no one can hurt you anymore. So you become power hungry. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. So some of these women are latching onto this, and it's all going to work itself out. I'm just pointing out something that I've seen. I'm not concerned over it at all. I see how this is going to work, and it's just that they don't see it. They don't understand what they're doing. Anytime you look outside yourself for someone to blame for something, you're in separation. The avatars, like I said in yesterday's video, the planet is here. We're people standing on it. We're fingertips of the planet. And these vessels are connected to the planet, the body-mind complex. And then the souls come down and they inhabit the bodies. Where do you see gender in any of this? If you go up to the soul level, there is no separation at all. There is no gender. There is no difference between you and me. There is no separation. Your brother, your sister, and I mean people on the outside of you, your neighbor, your wife, your kids, they are you. They're you. You are God. You are all God. And you start to see the divinity in their eyes, and you start to not see the separation. The gender of that being that you're looking at becomes completely irrelevant. Completely. Who cares how many women are in charge and how many men are in charge in the future? It's not going to matter. We're all going to respect each other based on the fact that we are God. And I think that's where I'll leave it. Yeah. So I have a Patreon account attached in the description of this video where I do extra content, and you can see a more informal part of my life. I do walk and talk type videos, and the lowest tier over there is $10. Please go over and sign up. I could really use the support if you'd like to see future videos from me. And like I always say, I hope this video finds you well. I love you all, and we'll see you soon.